Morning, it's Nana here again, and Ethan has asked me to read Roald Dahl's The Enormous Crocodile. This is a really old book. I think this might have even belonged to one of your daddies because it looks awfully old to me. Oh, it was Robert, so it's Robin and Jensen's daddy and Uncle Rob, so Izzy and Ethan. So you can see his name there, look. Robert Hawley. So this is The Enormous Crocodile by Roald Dahl with pictures by Quentin Blake. The enormous crocodile boasts that he is going to eat a child for lunch, and he sets out to trick all the children. But his plots and disguises are foiled by the animals in the jungle, especially Trunky. This is a really long book for Nana to read, so I hope you're going to be concentrating and listening carefully. In the biggest, brownest, muddiest river in Africa, 2 crocodiles lay with their heads just above the water. One of the crocodiles was enormous, the other was not so big. "Do you know what I would like for my lunch today?" the enormous crocodile asked. "No," the not so big one said. "What?" The enormous crocodile grinned, showing hundreds of sharp white teeth. "For my lunch today," he said, "I would like a nice, juicy little child. Look at his big teeth, look, enormous." "I never eat children," the not-so-big one said, "only fish." "Ho, ho, ho," cried the enormous crocodile. "I'll bet if you saw a fat, juicy little child paddling in the water over there at this very moment, you'd gulp him up in one gollop." "No, I wouldn't," said the not-so-big one said. "Children are too tough and chewy. They're tough and chewy and nasty and bitter." "Tough and chewy?" cried the enormous crocodile. "Nasty and bitter? What awful tommy rot you talk. They're juicy and yummy." "They taste so bitter," the not-so-big one said. "You have to cover them with sugar before you can eat them." "Children are bigger than fish," said the enormous crocodile. "You get bigger helpings." "You are greedy," the not-so-big one said. "You're the greediest croc in the whole river." "I'm the bravest croc in the whole river," said the enormous crocodile. "I'm the only one who dares to leave the water and go through the jungle to the town to look for little children to eat." "You've only done that once," snorted the not-so-big one. "And what happened then? They all saw you coming and ran away." "Ah, but today when I go, they won't see me at all," said the enormous crocodile. "Of course they'll see you," the not-so-big one said. "You're so enormous and ugly, they'll see you from miles away." The enormous crocodile grinned again, and his terrible sharp teeth sparkled like knives in the sun. "Nobody will see me," he said, "because this time I've thought up secret plans and clever tricks." "Clever tricks?" cried the not-so-big one. "You've never done anything clever in your life. You're the stupidest croc on the whole river." "I'm the cleverest croc on the whole river," said the enormous crocodile. "For my lunch today I shall feast upon a fat, juicy little child while you lie here in the river feeling hungry. Goodbye." And there he is, showing his teeth again. Look at those enormous teeth. And the not-so-big one stayed in the river. The enormous crocodile swam to the side of the river and crawled out of the water. A gigantic creature was standing in the slimy, oozy mud on the riverbank. It was Humpy Rumpy, the hippopotamus. "Hello, hello," said Humpy Rumpy. "Where on earth are you off to at this time of day?" "I have secret plans and clever tricks," said the crocodile. "Oh dear," said Humpy Rumpy. "I'll bet you're going to do something horrid." The enormous crocodile grinned at Humpy Rumpy and said, "I'm going to fill my hungry, empty tummy with something yummy, 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 yummy." "What's so yummy?" asked Humpy Rumpy. "Try to guess," said the crocodile. "It's something that walks on 2 legs." "You don't mean," said Humpy Rumpy, "you don't really mean you're going to eat a little child?" "Of course I am," said the crocodile. "Oh, you horrid, greedy, grumptious brute," cried Humpy Rumpy. I hope you get caught and cooked and turned into crocodile soup." The enormous crocodile laughed out loud at Humpy Rumpy, and he waddled off into the jungle. There's Humpy Rumpy, look, he looks very sad at the thought that the enormous crocodile is going to go into town to find a little child. Inside the jungle, he met Trunky, the elephant. There's Trunky, the elephant, look. Trunky was nibbling leaves from the top of a tall tree, and he didn't notice the crocodile at first. So the crocodile bit him on the leg. "Ow!" said Trunky in his big deep voice. "Who did that?" "Oh, it's you, is it, you beastly crocodile? Why don't you go back to the big brown muddy river where you belong?" "I have secret plans and clever tricks," said the crocodile. "You mean you've nasty plans and nasty tricks," said Trunky. "You've never done a nice thing in your life." The enormous crocodile grinned up at Trunky and said, "I'm off to find a yummy child for lunch. Keep listening and you'll hear the bones go crunch." "Oh, you wicked, filthy beast," cried Trunky. "Oh, you foul and filthy friend. I hope you get squashed and squished and squizzled and boiled up in crocodile stew." The enormous crocodile laughed out loud and disappeared into the thick jungle. A bit further on, he met Mugglewump the monkey. Mugglewump was sitting in a tree eating nuts. There's Mugglewump sitting in a tree eating his nuts, look. "Hello, Crocky," said Mugglewump. "What are you up to now?" "I have secret plans and clever tricks," said the crocodile. "Would you like some nuts?" asked Mugglewump. "I have better things to eat than nuts," sniffed the crocodile. "I didn't think there was anything better than nuts," says Mugglewump. "Aha!" said the enormous crocodile. "The sort of things that I'm going to eat have fingers, toenails, arms and legs and feet." Mugglewump went pale and began to shake all over. "You really are going to gobble up a child, are you?" he said. "Of course I am," said Crocodile. "Clothes and all, they taste better with clothes on." "He's a bit nasty, isn't he?" "Oh, you horrid, hoggish croc," cried Mugglewump. "You slimy creature. I hope the buttons and buckles all stick in your throat and choke you to death." The crocodile grinned up at Mugglewump and said, "I eat monkeys too." And quick as a flash, with one bite of his huge jaws, he bit through the tree that Mugglewump was sitting on, and down it came. But just in time, Mugglewump jumped into the next tree and swung away through the branches. "Look at that nasty crocodile! He's bitten right through the tree. He must have really, really sharp teeth." A bit further on, the enormous crocodile met the roly-poly bird. The roly-poly bird was building in a nest in an orange tree. "Hello there, enormous crocodile," sang the roly-poly bird. "We don't often see you up here in the jungle." "Ah," said the crocodile, "I have secret plans and clever tricks." "I hope it's not something nasty," sang the roly-poly bird. "Nasty?" cried the crocodile. "Of course it's not nasty. It's delicious. It's luscious. It's super. It's mushes. It's duper. It's better than rotten old fish. You mash it and munch it and chew it and crunch it. It's lovely to hear it go squish." "It must be berries," sung the roly-poly bird. "Berries are my favourite food in the world. Is it raspberries, perhaps? Or could it be strawberries?" There, look, there's roly-poly bird. The enormous crocodile laughed so much his teeth rattled together like pennies in a money box. "Crocodiles don't eat berries," he said. "We eat little boys and girls, and sometimes we eat roly-poly birds as well." Very quickly the crocodile reached up and snapped his jaws at the roly-poly bird. He just missed the bird, but he managed to catch hold of the long, beautiful feathers in its tail. The roly-poly bird gave a shriek of terror and shot straight up into the air, leaving its tail feathers behind in the enormous crocodile's mouth. Look at that. Look at those beautifully coloured feathers from the roly-poly bird in the crocodile's mouth. What a nasty creature. At last the enormous crocodile came out the other side of the jungle and into the sunshine. He could see the town not far away. "Ho, ho," he said, talking aloud to himself. "Ha, ha! That walk through the jungle has made me hungrier than ever. One child isn't going to be nearly enough for me today. I won't be full up until I've eaten at least 3 juicy little children." He started to creep forward towards the town. There, look. He's being very furtive. Look, he's got his head right down. Not chewing any birds now. The enormous crocodile crept over to a place where there were a lot of coconut trees. He knew that children from the town often came here looking for coconuts. The trees were too tall for them to climb, but there were always some coconuts on the ground that had fallen down. The enormous crocodile quickly collected all the coconuts that were lying on the ground. He also gathered together several fallen branches. "Now for clever trick number 1, he whispered to himself. "It won't be long before I'm eating the first part of my lunch." He took all the coconut branches and held them between his teeth. He grasped the coconuts in his front paws. Then he stood straight up in the air, balancing himself on his tail. He arranged the branches and the coconuts so cleverly that he now looked exactly like a small coconut tree standing among the big coconuts. Oh, there, look. Can you see? Can you make out which is the coconut tree and which is the enormous crocodile? Soon 2 children came along. They were brother and sister. The boy was called Toto. His sister was called Mary. They walked around looking for fallen coconuts, but they couldn't find any because the enormous crocodile had gathered them all up. "Oh, look," cried Toto. "That tree over there is much smaller than the others, and it's full of coconuts. I think I could climb that one quite easily if you help me up the first bit." Toto and Mary ran towards what they thought was a small coconut tree. The enormous crocodile peered through the branches, watching them as they came closer and closer. He licked his lips and began to dribble with excitement. Oh! Suddenly there was a tremendous whooshing sound. It was Humpy Rumpy the hippopotamus. He came crashing and snorting out of the jungle. His head was down and he was galloping at terrific speed. "Look! Look out, Toto!" cried Humpy Rumpy. "Look out, Mary! That's not a coconut tree, it's the enormous crocodile, and he wants to eat you up." Humpy Rumpy charged straight at the enormous crocodile. He caught him with his giant head and sent him tumbling and skidding over the ground. "Ow-wee!" cried the crocodile. "Help! Stop! Where am I?" Toto and Mary ran back to the town as fast as they could. Look, there's Rumpy Pumpy knocking down the enormous crocodile. Look at his face. He's a bit upset about that, isn't he? He's all toppling over. But crocodiles are tough. It's difficult for even a hippopotamus to hurt them. The enormous crocodile picked himself up and crept towards the place where the children's playground was. "Now for clever trick number 2, he said to himself. "This one is certain to work." There were no children in the playground at that moment. They were all in school. The enormous crocodile found a last piece of wood and placed it in the middle of the playground. He then lay across the piece of wood and tucked in his feet so that he looked almost exactly like a seesaw. Gosh, look at that. You can see he's a crocodile. Look at his teeth. There. When school was over, the children all came running onto the playground. "Oh, look," they cried, "we've got a new seesaw." They all crowded round, shouting with excitement. "Bags, I have the first go. I'll get on the other end. I want to go first. So do I, so do I." Then a girl who was older than the others said, "It's rather a funny, knobbly sort of seesaw, isn't it? Do you think it'll be safe to sit on?" "Of course it will," the other said. "It looks as strong as anything." The enormous crocodile opened one eye just a tiny bit and watched the children who were crowding around him. "Soon," he thought, "one of them is going to sit on my head, and then I'll give a jerk and a snap, and after that it'll be yum, yum, yum." Look at all the children. Look, they're all excited to go on the seesaw. That isn't really a seesaw, it's the enormous crocodile. At that moment there was a flash of brown, and something jumped into the playground and hopped onto the top of the swings. It was Mugglewump the monkey. "Run!" Mugglewump shouted to the children. "All of you, run, run, run!" "That's not a seesaw, it's the enormous crocodile, and he wants to eat you up!" The children screamed and ran for their lives. Mugglewump disappeared back into the jungle, and the enormous crocodile was left all alone in the playground. Look, he's a bit defeated there. He's lying over the log. Doesn't look like a seesaw anymore, does he? And there's all the children all running away. He cursed the monkey and waddled back into the bushes to hide. "I'm getting hungrier and hungrier," he said. "I shall have to eat at least 4 children now before I'm full up." The enormous crocodile crept around the edge of the town, taking great care not to be seen. He came to a place where they were getting ready to have a fair. There were slides and swings and dodgem cars and people selling popcorn and candy floss. There was also a big roundabout. The roundabout had marvellous wooden creatures for the children to ride on. There were white horses and lions and tigers and mermaids with fishes' tails and fearsome dragons with red tongues sticking out of their mouth. "Now for clever trick number 3, said the enormous crocodile, licking his lips. When no one was looking, he crept up onto the roundabout and put himself between a wooden lion and a fearsome dragon. There, look, there he is between the lion and the dragon. Soon all sorts of children came flocking to the fair. Several of them ran towards the roundabout. They were very excited. "I'm going to ride on a dragon," cried one. "I'm going on a lovely white horse," cried another. "I'm going on a lion," cried a third. And one little girl, whose name was Jill, said, "I'm going to ride on that funny old wooden crocodile." The enormous crocodile kept very still, but he could see the little girl coming towards him. "Yum, yum, yum," he thought. "I'll gulp her easily in one gollop." Suddenly there was a swoosh and a whoosh, and something came swishing and swooshing out of the sky. It was Roly-Poly Bird. There, look, Roly-Poly Bird. He flew round and round the roundabout, singing, "Look out, Jill, look out, look out. Don't ride on that crocodile." Jill stopped and looked up. "That's not a wooden crocodile," sang the Roly-Poly Bird. "It's a real one. It's the enormous crocodile from the river, and he wants to eat you up." Jill turned and ran. So did all the other children. Even the man who was working the roundabout jumped off it and ran away as fast as he could. The enormous crocodile cursed the Roly-Poly Bird and waddled back into the bushes to hide. "I'm so hungry now," he said to himself. "I could eat 6 children before I'm full up." Look at him. Look at that crocodile. He looks very angry now, doesn't he? But all the children are running away to safety. Just outside the town there was a pretty little field with trees and bushes all round it. This was called the picnic place. There were several wooden tables and long benches, and people were allowed to go there and have a picnic at any time. The enormous crocodile crept over to the picnic place. There was no one in sight. "Now for clever trick number 4, he whispered to himself. He picked a lovely bunch of flowers and arranged it on one of the tables. From the same table, he took away one of the benches and hid it in the bushes. There, look. See, he's pinched the bench. Look, he's carrying the bench away. And those are the pretty flowers that he put on the table. Then he put himself in the place where the bench had been. By tucking his head under his chest and by twisting his tail out of sight, he made himself look very much like a long wooden bench with 4 legs. There, look, there he is. See, he made himself look like a bench, and there's the flowers. Soon 2 boys and 2 girls came along carrying baskets of food. They were all from one family, and their mother had said they could go and have a picnic together. "Which table shall we sit at?" said one. "Let's take the table with the lovely flowers on it," said the other. The enormous crocodile kept as quiet as a mouse. "I shall eat them all," he said to himself. "They'll will come and sit on my back, and I'll swizzle my head round quickly, and after that it'll be squish, squish." Suddenly a big deep voice from the jungle shouted, "Stand back, children! Stand back! Stand back!" The children stopped and stared at the place where the voice was coming from. Then with a crashing of branches, Trunky the elephant came rushing out of the jungle. "That's not a bench you were going to sit on," he bellowed. "It's the enormous crocodile, and he wants to eat you all up. Look, there's Trunky just crashing through the jungle, and look at the children's faces. They're really surprised." Trunky trotted over to the spot where the enormous crocodile was standing, and quick as a flash, he wrapped his trunk around the crocodile's tail and hoisted him up to the air. "Hey, let me go!" yelled the enormous crocodile, who was now dangling upside down. "Let me go! Let me go!" "No," Trunky said, "I will not let you go. We've all had quite enough of your clever tricks. Ha ha! Look at Trunky with the crocodile hanging from the trunk. Brilliant." Trunky began to swing the crocodile round and round in the air. At first he swung him slowly, then he swung him faster and faster. Look, there he goes. He's going, and you look, he's going so fast, he's making a blur. And faster still. Soon the enormous crocodile was just a blurry circle going round and round Trunky's head. Look at that. It looks like a spiral. Brilliant. Suddenly Trunky let go of Crocodile's tail, and the crocodile went shooting high up into the sky like a huge green rocket. Up and up he went, higher and higher, faster and faster. He was going so fast and so high that soon the earth was just a tiny dot miles below. Oh, look at that. That's amazing. He whizzed on and whizzed far into space. He whizzed past the moon. He whizzed past the stars and planets. There until, at last, with a tremendous bang, the enormous crocodile crashed headfirst into the hot, hot sun, and he was sizzled up like a sausage. Wow, so he got his comeuppance, didn't he? Not a very nice man, that crocodile. I don't think we want to know about him anymore. Anyway, that's enough for today, and I love you, and I miss you, and I can't wait to give you all a big hug. And that's Nana's story for today. Love you. Take care.